Hi everyone, welcome. Today it's Thursday, 22nd February 2024. We're going to talk about petroleum, and today's subject going to be fuel management system. We're having with us Ori Ezra and Diego Rodriguez, and we're going to jump in with some questions from Ori. Ori, go ahead.
My name is Ori Ezra. I've been working with Tal Ezra for the last 26 years, but officially for the last 8 years, covering all the sales, marketing, account management in SCI. So we're going to just hop right into it. So the first question is, can you explain what fuel management entails and why it's critical for businesses and organizations with large fleets?
Okay, so the concept of fuel management came to solve numerous challenges in the industry, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So when people understood that it's cheaper to buy fuel in bulk, so they go to invest in buying fuel tank, installing fuel tank in their yard, then they're installing a pump. Obviously, there is a lot of regulations. Then they need to manage that inventory, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And part of the challenge was, in the old days, you will used to see, and even some places today, you're seeing people writing transactions on a piece of paper.
Pen and paper, yeah.
So pen and paper and a plastic mailbox, and that's the fuel management system, yeah?
Yeah.
That create obviously challenges because people don't write the accurate information. The piece of paper get dirty. Someone need to put it inside an Excel spreadsheet. In the end of the month, you need to reconcile fuel level inventory in your fuel tank compared to what you dispensed for numerous reasons. Number one, EPA, to show that you didn't create a spill and you're hiding the spill. Number two, my own accounting and my own peace of mind that I want to see that, hey, someone dispensed the fuel appropriately and allocated to the right vehicle or right cost center. But when you're coming and looking at from the accounting viewpoint, piece of paper and Excel spreadsheet didn't really work because too much variation, you cannot reconcile. And then, okay, let's put together a fuel management system, yeah?
Right.
And when you go and you say, okay, let's put together a fuel management system, doesn't matter if it's SCI or any other vendors out there, the challenge is the same, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
You need to know how to set up the system in the conceptual understanding that what vehicles I'm going to authorize to fuel, which driver I want them to authorize the fuel, how do I prevent mixing diesel into gasoline. This is how fuel management system came about and took quite a lot of advance in the communication platforms, the method of authorization and authentication. But the concept is, if you look at it, every pump in the retail environment have some type of a fuel management system, yeah?
Right.
Because you cannot start the pump without swiping your credit card, for example. So when I deal with terminal fueling, I don't worry about credit cards because I'm not selling the fuel back to myself. When you're doing terminal fueling, you're more managing where did I dispense the vehicles, and that making sure that I gaining the security, prevention of fraud, ease of use for the users, accounting is all intact and all the data is flowing.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, the dream of everyone is to make it in such a way that it will be with no human intervention.
What are the most significant challenges in fuel management today, and how do you address them? So obviously, over time, the technology of fuel management has evolved. Different challenges arose as the evolution of fuel management continues. So what are the different challenges that companies and businesses are running into, and how is that changing fuel management for us?
So I think to answer that is, let's take one step back, because I believe that the problem that you're handling is never the problem, is a symptom of a problem that you never one step before. Yeah, it's a symptom of a problem that you never handled, and the problem is one step before that. And what is the problem? As company grows, they want to bring more fuel on site. The DNA of each company, never mind what's the vertical in the market, whether it will be construction or it will be waste management, transportation, is hey, I need to move those wheels because this is how I make my money. And the fuel is a necessity that I need to manage. Yeah. But when I go and I start to structure fuel management as a concept, not a lot of company really took it as a holistic solution to bring standardization into their operation. Then you find...
When you say standardization, you mean standardizing the pumps, the nozzles, the management system, everything.
Exactly. So then you find in different locations, in different terminals, that the same company have 6 or 7 or 10 different type of pumps. Yeah, there is no standard on electrical work. There is no standard on communication. There is no standard on even the filters. Okay, which is the very important part on the pump.
Basic but important. Yeah.
Yeah, because if you don't filtrate the fuel properly on diesel engine, that can create big problems with the engine performance. And then obviously you're going and you're saying, okay, so what's the standard that I'm creating also throughout my operation for one single fuel management system that will be a holistic solution? And that standardization and holistic solution is what bringing about cost reduction, ease of management, knowledge on how to maintain each one of your terminals. So there is a lot of going on with managing the fuel island, if you want. Whether it will be fire, what's my company procedures in handling regulation about fire, electrical, excess,
spills, and so on. Yeah.
Then, okay, how you buy the fuel, you know, how do you go and bid the fuel? We will have a podcast separate specifically on fuel purchasing. But yeah, the fuel management system comes along with a lot of planning. And I think the viewpoint that need to change is that the standardization on an holistic solution need to be put in place in order to reduce maintenance, reduce cost of operation, and bring ease of installation and operation and use of the system. I'll give you an example. I'm in the petroleum industry since 94. I've seen way too many times that drivers, not their fault, but comes to the fuel island and they see a new piece of equipment and they don't really understand how to use it because no one took the time to give them like an online manual or some training because someone in headquarters decided that, hey, this is what we're going to implement. And then what happened is that instead of the driver doing a transaction in 3 minutes and drive away or 5 minutes and drive away, he's spending 15 minutes just trying to find his feet and understand what is that new piece of equipment.
New technology that they've implemented.
And the mental challenge that, now someone is monitoring me and how is it working and I don't understand. And like anything else, education, is very critical part in order for anyone to take more responsibility and have more control. Yeah? You cannot ask drivers to increase responsibility and have more control without giving them the knowledge. And part of the knowledge is the standardization of the technology you decided to implement.
That's true. That's a good answer. Okay, so I have a question for Diego, but first of all, I'd like Diego to introduce himself.
Yes, thank you, Ori. I am Diego Rodriguez. I am right now the CTO of SCI. I've been working with SCI for the last 13 years already. I have around 27 years of experience developing software and building software solutions in different industries. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, of course. We're excited. And hopefully in the next couple shows and podcasts we do, we'll be able to have you as well.
That's great.
So the question I have for you, because you're more on the technology side and software side of things, can you share some examples of innovative tools or software that have significantly improved fuel efficiency and fuel management?
Well, one of the things that that we are doing right now is trying to reduce the amount of time that drivers are spending on their gas stations.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why we are doing that is because we know that whenever you have big companies, 1,000 or 2,000 employees, 2,000 drivers, and those drivers are spending 15 minutes on a gas station, right? And then you multiply that amount of minutes times 2,000 drivers. At the end of the year, that can cost you millions of dollars.
Right.
So what we're doing is building applications that are user-friendly, building technologies that are going to automate the process whenever you want to get fuel, reducing that time that the drivers are spending on their gas station. So just to give you an example, right? If you used to take 10 minutes to get fuel and it will take you 10 minutes fueling, but 5 more minutes authorizing your transaction or swiping your card or entering all the information, sometimes making mistakes whenever you are entering that information. Instead of the driver doing that, we're automating that process. We will know where the driver is located at, which driver is driving that particular vehicle, and then we will authorize the transaction automatically. And the only thing that the driver will have to do is to show up, enter either a number or just activate that pump from his cell phone, and that's it. We are basically saving 4 to 5 minutes on the authorization process. So if you multiply 5 minutes times 2,000 drivers for a year, and this is how, with technology, with innovation, we are basically saving money and helping for the companies to save money.
So with that being said, how does data analytics contribute to more effective fuel management now that we have the software on Fuel Before?
So data is always key in this process, right? The more data we collect, the more knowledge we have, and the more, I will say something that Tal already said, the more control we're going to have. Whenever we are collecting the data and whenever we are processing the data properly, that's going to help us to understand our past. It is going to help us to understand our present, and it will help us to predict or to forecast our future. So basically data analytics is predicting the future and helping the users to make better decisions.
Could you give an example where a data-driven decision would lead to a more sustainable fuel saving?
Right. Yeah. One of the things that I like about data analytics is the ability for us to do, for example, fuel reconciliation. And in the fuel reconciliation, which is key in the process of managing fuel, controlling consumption, and reducing losses, the fuel reconciliation is key. So in this case, one example of the data analytics is that while we are collecting our current fuel inventory from our tanks or from the customer tanks, and we're comparing that data together with the fuel that is being dispensed to the customer vehicles, then we're going to be able to have like 2 comparison points. One from the inventory and the other one from a fuel dispensing process. That's going to help the customer to identify, right, if there is any losses, if there is any situation like miscalibration of the meters, miscalibration of the inventory sensors, things like that. And that is actually and currently helping tremendously to the customers to identify if there are situations that they can manage and that will contribute to avoid fuel losses.
So what is the biggest trend you see shaping the future of fuel management? I know a lot of people now are going on to RFID readers and barcode scanners and so on. And I know now that we're in the process of implementing something very exciting. So can you share a little bit about that?
So let's look at the life of fuel, okay? So life of fuel is being harvested from
the ground,
the earth, or the different resources, being refined, okay? And then it's being allocated. And then someone come with a fuel tanker and he deliver it to some tank. And from that tank, whether it will be over-the-road tank or terminal fueling tank, it goes and being used, okay, in the vehicle and it's being burned. All that process from the refinery all the way down until the vehicle is until the fuel is being burned.
The consumption,
quite an amazing variation of prices. And the prices is being affected from a lot of different factors. But imagine that you will be able to predict based on market trend, based on a lot of information that we are currently collecting. And not only that you will know how you manage the fuel allocation, how do you manage the availability of inventory and the transportation of that inventory. You will also be able to futuristically lock prices on transactions that didn't even happen yet. The method that we want to do and what we're pushing, as you mentioned, okay, when you go to authorize a transaction, it's anywhere from the old-fashioned barcode to some kind of an RFID technology to even start the transactions with the phone or a tablet. But all of that require a human intervention. Imagine that you take a truck with no user interaction, without truly remove the user. You come to the pump. We know how to identify you to where you are. Pick up the nozzle, you put it in your vehicle, you filled up, you left the station. We pre-authorized you before you arrived. We attached you to some kind of a loyalty program.
Going back a little bit to the authorization part, can you explain a little bit how that works with authorizing somebody before they even get to the pump?
So the concept here is that we developed a unique technology.
Mm-hmm.
We know based on different combination of data that is combined with BI, AI. I'll give you an example, okay? When is the last time you filled up your truck?
Yesterday.
Good. Where?
Gas station.
Which gas station?
I think I went to Wawa's.
Okay. Why did you go to Wawa?
It was convenient and on the way.
How many times do you usually stop there?
Usually not a lot at Wawa's.
No?
No.
Okay. But you were on your way, yeah?
Yeah.
Good. What was the price on the pump?
I didn't see it.
What was the price on the pump next to it?
I also didn't see.
Okay. We are people of habit, yeah?
Yeah.
So something drove you to stop at Wawa, yeah?
Well, I can tell you this. Usually if I'm going out of Clearwater towards the Tampa area, there's usually one specific gas station right before the causeway that I'll stop at.
Why?
Just because of the convenience of it. It's easy in, easy out.
And what if I tell you that's the most expensive gas that you're buying? When you're doing a transaction there is no loyalty for you. Would it be nice if you will drive less mileage to get a better price, be part of the loyalty, some kind of a loyalty program, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So now there are softwares today that give you on the fly discount.
Yeah, local gas station prices,
yes.
And so on, yeah.
So there are software like this, yeah?
Yeah.
But they are working in a very limited capability and capacity, yeah?
Of course.
What we're talking about here is how do you buy fuel in bulk and dispense it with no human intervention, with machine learning capability.
Your answers have been very insightful. Tal and Diego, thank you very much. Okay, in the next episode, we'll go a little bit more in depth about level monitoring, tank levels, and how that integrates with fuel management, and how that all integrates into our software, just to educate people a little bit more. So thank you again, Tal and Diego, for being part of PetroTalk, and we'll see you next time.